Hello and welcome back. In this class, we are going to learn how to add and manage table within the LibreOffice Impress presentation. So the way to add and manage table is nearly the same way as we do add and manage table in the LibreOffice Writer that we've discussed in the previous class. It's the same process, so we just explore the same thing, but in this case only that you are adding it on slides, okay, to make your work a bit better. To add, let's start by adding a fresh slide, okay, new slide here, and then we can make it a blank slide from the properties panel over here. Now we want to add something, we want to add a table, so we can come all the way to the table section over here. This is a table. You can click to add, or you can click on this small drop down to define the number of rows and columns. Okay, so how many rows and columns do you want? You can easily select. All right, so let's say we are going with something simple, 4x4, and once you click on 4x4, you will see that this is the 4x4 table that you have. Now as soon as you select and you enable the table, you can see the table properties had popped up, just like the way we do have in most of the writers that you have. So what this means is that the content of this table, you can change it, but before you start adding content or before you start changing the content, you can see the table design over here. There are lots of pre-designed templates that you can use. Okay, they are very interesting and they're very nice. You can select depending on your choice. So you can go with something like this if you want something like this or something like this, depending, or you can go with something like this or something like this. So depending on you, let's go with this. Or if you want to add a specific new design, you can always click and add. You can always click the plus sign and keep adding a new design. Okay, so but for this class, let's keep it simple. Let's go with something like this. So now here, this is, you can define the header row as well as which of the rows do you want branded. Okay, banded. The header row, is it the header or the total row or something like that? Okay, you can enable which one do you want with the coloration. So for this case, I want the header, and we can say first column also. If you want, you can enable all this. You have quite a number of controls as regards what you add as regards the detail of the table within the LibreImpress presentation. So you can uncheck this, or you want it to be the last column also, you can, or the banded columns you can directly. Okay, so but for this, let's go with the first column, and I think it's quite professional. So let's write something to just signify that this is a table. Okay, so in each case, you can play around with the content. You can select the content, and you have all of these features, like you can bold things, you can italize things, you can change the coloration to something that can depict what you want. Okay, you can just go ahead and change accordingly. If you want to have a red color, you can change or thereabout, and you can add in suffixes, superscript and subscript. Okay, you can add all of this. You can increase and decrease the sizing of the fonts from here. Okay, you can change also manually from here. You can play around with the sizing and so on. The spacing, you can play around with it, the indenting, the list and so on. You have quite a number of controls from here. So this is table, and at any given point you want to move it, you can select and move it somewhere. You can just select and drag and move it somewhere, and once you select, the table properties comes back. Now in addition to the general character, the general properties of the image, you can have other properties like the styles if you want to check the styles, as well as this navigation and shapes if you want to add shapes and so on. Like for example, if you want to merge these cells, you can just select and right click the cell. You can have merge cells or split cells. You can merge these cells. For example, let's say I want to merge these two. You can just select them and then say merge cells, and these two now become one. Or you can split them into two, so you can say split cells into two, or you can split into three also if you want, horizontally or vertically. You can into equal parts or into some proportions. You can define accordingly. Now let's say okay to this, and you can see we've subdivided them vertically into three slides, into three cells. Let's undo this, and let's say we split this horizontally into three. Okay, so So let's say vertically, sorry, into 3, and then say okay, into 2 is okay. So you get the message. You can do as you like. All right, so you can right click. You have other things. You can insert rows and columns above, rows above this. You can insert rows below this. You can insert columns before, columns after. You can also do that as well. Very easily, you can customize things accordingly. Now you can check out characters and paragraphs. If you have any issues, you can work with them directly. You can align object left, right, and center, top, center, or bottom. You can change the arrangement to bring forward, backward this particular table if you are interested. Now table position and size, you can manage it on your own by bringing in the position and size wizard. You have the position, the X and Y's you can define manually. This sizing you can define manually also. This is a preview of what you have. This is the base point and so on. The protect, you can protect position and size so nobody moves the table to anywhere. Rotation, you have a number of controls as regards rotation. You can select and you can be able to on your own rotate the table to an angle, all right, to any angle of your choice, and you can always bring it back to normal. Once you say okay to this, the rotation takes effect. Insert the slant and corner radius if you're interested. You can add the angle and so on. You can define all of this. But at this stage, I just want to keep everything at default. I can just cancel this, and whenever you have anything, you can always come to the table properties and click, and you'll be able to have access to the table properties over here, like the family, what type of table, like we've explained, the Liberation Sans. This is the font effect. If you have anything, the transparency, the borders, what type of border do you want, you can see all of them. You can go ahead and change accordingly. Okay, the default is this type of border, but you can have all borders if you want to use this as well. And then you have the background coloration. You can change the background coloration of this, and you can add any of the color according to your choice. If you want to make it gradient color, you can add gradient color also directly. Once you say okay to this, the table, that cell now change color. If you want, you can select the entire table so you can work with it directly, right? Table properties, and you can change things accordingly. All right, so you can change the color, the image. If you have any image that you want, if you want to insert or import an image, you can import and insert also directly. The pattern and hatch also, you can use any of them, but I also always prefer to go with the gradient and make it simple. So you can see everything is now as simple as you want. So the customization is up to you, how you want to customize it and what properties and what detail do you want to add. You can just go ahead and add them accordingly. So this basically concludes this class about dealing with table and its properties within the Impress presentation in LibreOffice. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.